welcome to a new episode of the Advancing Consciousness series with Franco Di Nicola. This is a place where people can come to gain further insight and clarity as to what is going on and how we can shift things on a personal and global level, while also accessing higher levels of consciousness and awareness. We bring this series to you free of charge so that many are able to access this information. And if you resonate with what Franco shares and you would like to support his work, contributions are welcomed and greatly appreciated. A link is in the description and will be provided in the chat if you feel guided to do so. Also, we have many previous workshops, such as the most recent, Actualizing Beyond Your Current State to Live Your New Reality, along with our membership program, Let's Talk About You, where like-minded people come together bi-weekly to talk about the topics requiring deeper understanding and clarity. All of these are available on Teachable, and we encourage you to check them out as they are great resources at very affordable prices to assist in better understanding this human experience. The Teachable link will also be provided in the chat and description. And lastly, don't forget to share. As more of us are coming together and creating a shift in oneself, the more effective it will be to shift things globally. Thank you for joining us and being part of this change. Enjoy today's broadcast.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Advancing Consciousness series. Today we get to play with episode 87. And today's topic, we're going to be looking at facing the truth of our reality and our role. It's so timely with everything else that's going on right now, and especially with these surges of energies that are taking place. Now, with all of that, with these beautiful, powerful energies that are coming through and everything else that is being aligned right now, we have attempted to get onto Facebook and it has not worked. So we are not streaming live on Facebook anymore. We attempted, it was not coming on. We kept saying it will not stream. So this is the only platform we're streaming right now, is on YouTube. We will share with others the Facebook once we get that corrected, but it won't be live streaming, it will just be the replay. I'm hoping that the people from Facebook, because I did provide a link, has moved over to the what we can call at this point in time the YouTube version at this point. So anyways, with all that said and done, we are going through another powerful energetic wave that is now more of us even turned on in a high powered state, allowing ourselves to be able to be more powerful conduit than ever before. So many of us are feeling a lot of energies moving through us. Many of us are losing our identities, are losing reference point of how it feels to be on the planet right now in the old way, of course. And of course, since we are so tuned and have been so wrapped up in the old version of ourselves that somehow we feel that we are disconnected and so forth. That disconnect is only allowing us to connect to our rock solid state, our new state of being, and our new human expression and experience, while bringing online all other aspects of ourselves to be able to play more powerfully than ever. When we're going to watch this replay, by the way, we will notice that I will trim some parts of it so that we are not going to have too much of the long introduction that was only trying to correct the Facebook part. Before we even go any deeper, I'd like to thank all the people that have been sending in contributions to assist us through not only keeping this going, but also with our move. We've had some really generous people, and I really thank you from the bottom of our heart. It is very conducive, very helpful at this point in time, because it helped us also with some of the transition of this month that we have to, we've had to deal with. So I thank you immensely. Beyond what I can express verbally at this point in time, and I'm sure that you can feel the energies coming through, because each support we receive, you are amplifying your opportunity to kind of support you in anything and everything that you are diving into and playing with at this point in time. So we're looking at what the actual truth is. So we're looking at what the truth of our reality and our role is. You know, there's so much going on at this point in time that we kind of lose what is true. One of the things that I have covered, trueness to ourself is one part of it. The truth of the game is the other part of it. And we have so much streaming of information from mainstream to alternate and also others that are kind of sharing their own personal experience, their observation, and what is playing out, which can create a lot of confusion for us. And we then start to kind of question, what is the truth? What is really happening? Because there's so many versions of what's going on right now. Some of the versions really stimulate polarity. Some of the versions really stimulate fear, disconnect. And a lot of them are also streaming very powerful, this whole idea of survival, and that we are going through the proverbial hellhole of sorts, and also an obsolescence where we are extinguishing ourselves. There are many narratives coming to a hit, and it's becoming much more powerful. Some of these narratives are quite old. Some of them are newer narratives. Some of them are spin-off of narratives and so forth, and that are all playing out at this point. Even people that are connecting with what we call higher source essence at this point in time, or at least channeling things of some sort, are getting a lot of different spins and viewpoints and access points that create a stimulation of what is true, what is really happening, who to believe, what is really playing out. And that is being emphasized in a very powerful way at this point in time. So the question comes in, why? Why all of this? Why is all of this kicking in such a fashion right now? Is it possible that it is completing a lot of these versions? Is it possible that we disconnect from ourselves and reconnect to other? Or is it disconnect from everything that's coming in and connecting with ourselves, connecting with our true powerful essence of ourselves? Now, we have to understand that everything that is being streamed, everything that is being shared, everything that we are being exposed for or through and to, is all in one way or another stimulating us. Yes, it may look like a lot of confusion. Yes, it may look like we have no idea what's really happening. But it is stimulating what? You. Stimulating the true essence of you. True discernment. True connection. True grounding to yourself. Now, of course, when we're going through the process, it can look very bumpy, because the ego likes to intervene. And our true self is not always so powerful with many, many different options and continuous reminding in the same loudness, the same frequency, meaning how many times it knocks us around to be able to override what the ego is. But one feels true and one feels not so true. Because when we are looking at things that are streaming fear, that are streaming survival, streaming make it or not make it, or disconnect or anything of that nature, or referring to the old patterns, stories, belief systems, collectively and personally, when it starts to create emotional charges with you and so forth, you know that's only the old version of you and the old aspects of all the streaming that is now coming to that destabilized state to be purged and freed and cleared from you. That is that. The true essence of you is very rock solid, very knowing, and it's bringing it to the surface in a very clear, balanced, harmonious state within yourself. It does not stimulate fear, survival, struggle, or any other perspective that gives realism of everything that's going on. So what are we talking about when we're looking at facing the truth of our reality? Is it about the truth versus a lie? That's a lot of emphasis is put on that. There's a lot of lies going on and very minimal truth. And some people will say, well, truth is perceptional. There is truth to some people, but not maybe truth to others. Is that really so? Or is there some other way to look at that, to get a deeper understanding? Is truth subjective? Is truth catered to various individuals, collectives, or whatever you're going through your experience? Are we totally in a state of lie? And the truth is so difficult to find? These are good questions to ask ourselves. What is truth? The truth is you. The truth is your knowing. Now, is it subjective? Not really. However, we are very flexible beings. We allow ourselves to have various experiences by tuning in or connecting to what is being offered to the degree it serves us. For what reason? To only refine us, to only discover more of ourselves. So everything you will notice is temporary, except when you're connecting to that true essence of yourself. That is not only rock solid, that is a blossoming and expression that does not have that variance within it. So it's not about the truth versus the lie, because there are lots of constructs that are being brought to the surface. Constructs of what the way of life is like. Because all of us have gone through these constructs. You may have come in your life as an entry point. Now there's two ways to enter that are most common. One is a complete birthing process. You're coming in from a birth of coming into a body of a baby through a mother's womb and so forth. That's one version. The other version is a drop-in. There's both. Now, the majority is through the birthing process. That's your entry point. So you come in with that entry point, realizing what the game is all about, and that you're playing an illusionary construct that is not natural in any way, shape, or form, but you want to be enter that experience. To have not only the experience, to learn from the experience, but to totally transform the experience. And as a drop-in, the same thing. You're coming in with a certain intent. You have a certain level of opening to say, okay, I will take in part of that experience and then move out. But we're also looking at what is and what have we been playing with? What have we been conditioned to believe? Yes, every belief that we take on, every construct that we are being exposed to or play with is an opportunity of, yes, play, of experience and growth and whatever we want to call it. That's true. And it all serves to some degree. But it comes to a point where it no longer serves. It's like anything, and I know this is an old example I've given, putting a set of training wheels on your bicycle or bike in this case does serve for a period of time until you learn how to balance. But eventually you end up removing it because those same training wheels will impede in true free movement. You can't take the same corners. You cannot go up and down certain things. You cannot do various experiments, and it slows you down. So the training wheels are no longer required at some point. So this is what we've all taken on bodies and have taken on what we can call training wheels. What we've taken on is what the collective has offered, what the game is all about. So we've taken on our parents' idea of what life is about and all of their conditioning and stories. We've taken on what the media has been providing us all these years, what our educational system and everybody of so-called authorities have been providing us. Those are training wheels. They give us an opportunity to kind of discover and create a balance within you. You're the one that's doing it. So that's what's been playing out. So in all of this, and yes, going back as far as 10,000 years ago, we've taken on a modality of life that disconnected us from our natural essence, our natural tendency. Now, when I say that, that is in the human experience, in the human playground. The multidimensional soul does not, because it plays on all different realms, different dimensions, different planets, in different physicalities. But when it comes here, it connects with the human experience. So it goes through that process. And that's where it gets in and starts to play the game a certain way within it. So the refinement process. So those are the training wheels. Here is a multi-dimension. And many of the souls have never been here before. I'm not saying all. There's a portion. It's not the largest portion, but a good portion of your multidimensional souls have never ever been here and have come here for the first time. There's a lot of integrating to do, a lot of learning the game that is present so that it can take an active role to shift all of that. And that's what many of us are doing. Many of us are coming to this awakening, realization, and so forth within our experience, because we've got the integration part, you're done with the training wheels, and now you're ready to fly on your own balance point, your own direction, your own focus. And that's what's really going on. So yes, what's happening right now? We're saying, well, okay, we've been living a lie. We have been living what is not true. Yes, in a way, if you look at it, what is that level of truth? Well, it's whatever the game is, because it's a game. You're going to dive into the game. You're going to play the game. So for a while, you're going to adopt it as the truth. We've adopted the truth of this is the way life is. We adopted the idea of a constructed truth that science works this way, the medical system works this way, our body works this way, the systems work this way, that there are authorities, there are hierarchies, there is fear, chaos, and all of that. There is a dependency that we in some way cannot be ourselves. We have to all follow certain rules. We all have to play the game wherever we're born, whatever interactions we have. We've adopted that idea of a truth, which was just an idea of a construct of a version of whatever was that. Oh, interesting. All right, let's see if I can do this. Great. Just to let you know, the PowerPoint thing or the thing that I normally use didn't come together today either. Lots of fun things to do, in this thing. So I'm going to have to wing it without any of that. So I did get the title. But anyways, just to continue on this. So we have adopted ideas of truth along the way, which are just constructs. Because if we tap into our true essence of ourselves, what are we? We're a makeup of many facets of expressions. And we have a natural reality. A natural reality as a body. We have a natural reality and consciousness of a human entity. We have a natural reality and expression from a multidimensional soul. And then all that combined, we create a natural reality in absolute freedom, openness, tapping into each source. Each facet of us expresses in its purest form essence. And that is an essence from what we call the innate consciousness of the body, the human entity's innate consciousness, and our multidimension combined. When you put all of that together, what we call our natural state, or what we call our innate consciousness of the body itself, has multifacets to that too, because the first part of the multifacet is the extension and expression of Gaia through our physical representation. But then we have 12 other streams that are also interconnected. As much of us have maintained all 12 genetics intact with a lot of modifications that went in, but the streaming of communication, that means the consciousness coming through all of the other 12 streams, have been altered for a period of time, and they are starting to come back, and they're coming in more and more. Those sequences are coming through. So we are now going into another level of truth. Now, when we are tapping into all of this, it's going to feel very foreign for us. Why? Because we've kind of been conditioned and programmed, and everything that we've seen on the big screen around us have reflected a completely different world. And as we call, what people call awaken, or going through stages of awakening, starting to realize that there's something else, another so-called truth, another expression coming through us that is not very reflective of what we see in the world. What we see is in the playground, what we see on the screen, what we have adopted as a way of life. So then we start saying, well, all of that was a lie. All of that was not natural. All of that is not who I am. Yet you can come to that realization, and that's the realization we're coming through. But the old world is still reflective very powerfully, still playing out the role that it's playing out for the time being. What is that doing for us at this point? I think you have something that you want to say. Go ahead.
Oh, no, someone is just sharing, asking, have some of us remained multidimensional and connected?
Well, let's put it this way. As long as you're an active role player, you didn't go into the extra, which you wouldn't be asking this question at this point in time, or even having an interest in this, you've maintained your multidimensional. None of it is disconnected. We may have reduced our focal point from that and used our overall consciousness and taken on what not only the ego has provided, but also what we've been looking at. The connection is still there. Now, of course, if we've gone through the various medical interventions and we have gone through the various exposures of different chemistries and so forth through food, air, and all of that stuff, it may have impeded some more or created filters and created a further disconnect. But most of that is going through a reversal process anyways. And how's that reversal process going on? We have to understand that ultimately we are the ones in charge. We are ultimately the very founders and designers and the one that chooses to connect any facet of it. So it doesn't matter how much of these exposures that we may have had, we're the ones that are actually shifting that within ourselves. Now, of course, we are getting a lot of help from other versions of ourselves in our multidimensional that will be related to the energies coming in, the spectrums of light, our sources, and whatever else is going on. Many of us have agreed to turn ourselves on in a very powerful way, so we are coming back in online with those access points. So yes, we may have disconnected to a certain degree, but that reconnection is coming back to the surface only because we are more ready than ever to bring that online of sorts, if you want to call it that. Now, of course, we have created the disconnect, and that's why a lot of focus was going on for us to connect with Gaia, grounding to Gaia, or the planet, if you want to call it nature, because nature is very much expressing through us. So by connecting with that nature, it brings us back to the balance of that natural state of us, which is the representation of Gaia in physical form, which we call the human form, which is basically still holographic, but it's a holographic projection coming from Gaia. The other parts of it is the DNAs. Well, of course, we have 12 DNAs. Each are different species. Each ones are channels that actually are the part of the genetics, or the part of the genetics of the makeup of the physical form. But each one have been transmitter receivers also, and many of the transmitters were completely turned off, leaving only a couple of them through heavy filtration and skewation. I'll throw that word that I just made up, and skewing a lot of it at that point in time. But now what's happening, those filters and skewing methods have been fading away more and more, and then a lot of the other 10 that have been completely turned off, the genetics still active to a certain degree, but the streaming are coming back online, so the representation in physical is getting more refined. It's going back more and more to its natural state with the upgrade. And of course, the energies that are coming in are also upgrading it, also assisting in turning it on, and so forth that's going on. And then what's happening is the human entity, which is the soul that incarnates on planet Earth only, that has been here since its origins, about 15,000 years ago, and coming through all of that, and the first 5,000 in its natural state and the last 10,000 in its non-natural state, that is coming through more clearly and bringing that knowing through that expression. And then of course your multidimensional has been exposed itself, what we call the multidimensional soul, that is now been able to incarnate wherever and stay in non-form and play in all the different realms and dimensions and so forth, is also taking a more active role in playing whatever role that best suits for this unfoldment and unpacking that we are going through. So part of this process that we are going through right now, with this deep understanding of ourselves, we're turning ourselves back on to our natural state. We're also turning on areas that have not been turned on before. And when I say that, from your entry point at this time, I'm not talking about the original entry points, because those would have been different combinations. Because you have to understand that each and every incarnation is going to be different. It never is exactly the same, because each body has a different signature expression. Each human entity has a different signature expression. Each soul that comes in from the multidimensional part is also bringing a different signature. So each time those new combinations come in, it creates a completely different expression. So the channel's always different. And that is purposely done that way so that we cannot get caught back into the same pattern. Now, of course, we can bring certain things to the experience and to the expression from all of these multidimensionalities and focal points and so forth. So what's really happening? What's the truth? What's happening? Well, what's happening is that we are going through a transformation. The transformation that we're going through is going from the unnatural state to a natural state. We're bringing our body into our natural state. We're bringing our consciousness to our natural state. We're allowing ourselves to be fully ourselves, from a body expression, from a human entity expression, and from a multidimensional expression, and to be expressed in a physicality, and to allow what we call planet Earth, or this matrix, to be expressed in this natural. The unnatural, reversed, or what we call inverted matrix is gone. The transmission of that inverted matrix is gone. So we all we are connected to is our natural organic matrix that is very flexible, serving us wherever we need to be served at this point in time, and more of that is coming online. So is it true that we are going through a destruction? Are we going through a point where if you are not strong, witty, and that in some way or somehow that you can fight the systems, that you're going to perish? That possibly we will all perish? Is it true that in one way or another we have to suffer, that we need to go through a destruction process? That's up to us if we want to give any value to it. But ask ourselves, what commitment did we make? Did we make a commitment to a total demise? Or something else? Yes, we have to understand that your way of life that you have adopted and have taken on for this beautiful ride. So you're looking at every single system, every single level of authority, every idea of what life is like, every idea of how your body really works, or what they have said it works. Every construct of every rule, every law, every level of hierarchy and authority is a fictional construct from that inverted state, but from never our true design, our true natural state, which we just adopted to experience, and but are now in the reversal process. So when we look at the world, is it a big lie? It's a fabricated construct would be the correct way to look at it. A fabricated construct that supported an inverted world, where everything worked backwards. As you could see, it was not about flourishing, it was about surviving. It was not about pure expression, but to conform. It was never about being yourself, but being what you were told to be, or what you've accepted to be. That you had no freedom, and you had no free will, you had no sovereignty. Everything told you how to live your life. You had to fit in a box. You had to fit in. You had to play the part. You had to look a certain way, act a certain way, and this is only the range you can play with. And if you noticed, the range of freedom that we perceived before keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. The boxes get smaller and smaller. Now, the idea is if you get this particular V thing going on, this jabication or whatever it is, you're going to have more freedom. And then that illusion gets taken away also. And so, well, no, now it doesn't matter if you've done that or not, you still don't have the same level of freedom. Yeah, you may have a little more freedom, but you cannot do what we had told you originally. You will see that, yeah, the barriers and the restrictions to travel one place to another gets smaller and smaller and smaller. We've always had this idea of borders. We've always had the idea, not from its original design, but when it was constructed, and all of these ideas have to put in. These are constructs. And yeah, a lot of people say, well, there were some dark energies, dark fourth dimensional consciousness beings that have come in. Yeah, they may have played a particular role and have, infused those ideas and then infused this parameter. Yes, that's true, but we are the ones that allowed it only because we wanted to see what that expression and experience was all about. But now we're reversing that. So these confines, why is it all playing out? Why are these restrictions playing out? And I know I've mentioned it in other episodes, but it's really important for us because we're going through different waves. It's getting what seems more chaotic, more crazy, more restriction. And the idea, of course, comes up, what to believe. Is this good? Is this bad? Is this going to hurt me? Is this going to free me? Is this going to give me my old life back or whatever it is? There's more of that. But these restrictions, in a way, we have agreed to play out. Not to torture ourselves, not to say, okay, we don't have any freedom or anything like that, or to bring up that whole idea and reinforce the idea. It's like anything. When you are pushed so hard, you finally get to a point where you say, enough. Now it's my terms. Even though the terms have always been there, and the choice we made was to have no terms, to have no freedom. Now you're saying, hey, I'm done with this. You're going to look at all the constructs that have supported our so-called life stream and see what is really of value, what is really a representation of your true essence. Does hierarchy exist? You're going to come to the realization, no, it does not. Never has, never will be. Are there other aspects of ourselves that have taken on specific roles to play those roles? And we're talking about it on planet Earth. We're talking about on the different dimensions and talking about our brother, sister souls that are closely working with us on other planets and other physicalities and so forth. Are they authority over us? No. They're at the same level as us, accessing different consciousness, different expressions and experiences, only to kind of assist us to really bring ourselves to the forefront. There is no hierarchy there. There is no hierarchy to any fictional deities or anything of that nature that we've given so much power to. The idea that, there is this control structure. We have to understand these are facets of ourselves that are working with us and have created realms of movies and playgrounds at this point in time and are giving us opportunities to express and experience ourselves tuned to that empowered state. Go ahead, Kimberly.
Someone is just asking if it's necessary that a greater percentage of humans realize that we're living an inverted reality before we can change this playground, or will most realize after the changes take place?
Well, the thing is, the key factors, the ones that have made the choice to be a key factor, are going to be the ones that no matter what's going on, they're going to come to that realization. They're going to see that inverted world. And many, many people have noticed that along the way, and many are just getting snippets of it because they're now noticing nonsense, nonsensical. They're also noticing polarities, flipping, flopping, and the fact of these so-called authorities telling us how to live life is really creating no value or substance, and that's kind of coming. So do we need everybody? No. It is unfolding anyways, but more and more people are participating. More and more people are joining that self-awakening, that self-realization, to bring forth that new expression that is the upgraded version of our original design, our natural beingness. So that's all coming into play. So what's going to happen as we continue to unfold more and more, because there are more and more, you have to understand, as we become aligned, we're connecting with those higher vibration, higher frequencies. We're basically transmitting more powerfully. We're becoming more conduits connected to that matrix that is reflecting more powerfully, so that to stay in the unconscious state is going to get more and more difficult. And that's what's much noticeable now for many people, and that has been speeding up the process of awakening. That even goes way beyond all of the stuff that's been going on energetically and so forth, that has been streamed on planet Earth from the inner crystal, from the planet, from our sun, from our galactic sun, from all of these other alignments of other planets and other systems, and also our quadrant of our galaxy and so forth that has also been participating, and our brother sister souls that are coming here with their so-called technologies and so forth that are assisting us at this. So there's much of it. But what is it doing? Is it overriding anything? No, it is assisting us to come back online, to be our truest expression that we are truly are, from the very core of our beingness. So as this process is going along, more and more of us are coming in to play, and that in play meaning alignment within ourselves, so that is speeding up the process. There are going to be physicalities are not going to adjust accordingly and will leave. Others will go through a process where they're not going to be in our viewpoint, or in this case in our channel, because we have three right now. We have a fifth dimensional platform, organic fifth dimensional platform, an organic third dimensional platform. Fourth is kind of just the consciousness that you would use, but that has polarity in there still. So that's kind of just playing a role at this point in time. I know some people are saying, well, we're going into fourth dimensional consciousness. Yes, we're tapping into that consciousness, but we don't have a platform that we are actually playing. We're either playing in fifth dimensional, organic fifth dimensional, or organic third dimension, or, and of course, we still have that other so-called superimposed platform that is dissolving, which is all that inverted 3D, inverted 2D, and so forth, in that old matrix kind of self-projection. Even though the matrix is no longer there, the inverted stuff is no longer there, it is still in one way or another being played out and projected, because we are still, it's still within ourselves that we are going through the whole process of purging. So what we're looking at right now, we're coming to the realization that we've been given an idea, a construct of a reality that does not make sense or match. Why are we noticing that? We're noticing that construct is not your true natural state. It does not match for who you are and why you're even here. I know many of us have this confusion. What am I here for? Whatever. Well, you know, like I've said many years, and you've probably heard it, we've all come here to play on this playground. We all come here to learn from the playground. We came here to enrich ourselves, to become more enlightened. But at the same time, the main focus now has been to be a catalyst, to be in line, and to come in and bring forth the newest version of the human experience, and the most elevated state of what we call Gaia playground, called Earth. So as much as we're doing all of that at the same time, our focus is to redesign, in a way, bringing not only its true nature, but in its upgraded version of what we call the human experience on the so-called human playground. And that's what we're doing. So a lot of people are feeling a lot of confusion. The confusion is because we are not totally solid with that true nature, and we're still purging out the unnatural state that we've adopted as part of the experience. So the transition can be confusing or can feel a little bit out of sorts because you're not grounded on either one yet, but that's why you ground to yourself. And as you go forward in that self-grounding, you were going to notice that you are you have another source point that doesn't have any reliance of either of the playgrounds. So you're connecting with yourself, and while you're doing that, it's easier to let go of the old playground and to bring more active the new playground, because that's where you're going to express yourself and be yourself more. So we are fed a construct constantly. The mainstream has one narrative, and that is to project the old world and to impose that old world to another level of restriction. Why? Well, first of all, it's helping us to awaken. Second of all, it's realizing that in one way or another, it's losing its grip. So we have to turn up the volume, make it more crazy. But the flip side of that, the crazier it is, the more we come online. The crazier it is, the more we come to realize that this is fictional. The more the volume is increased, we also realize that we have been living an untrue state of ourselves and now choosing to be that true state of yourself. So, are rules real? No. Is it a lie? It's a construct. It's made up, and it is projected that way. Are what we call culture and all of the different ideas of culture, all of the different versions of culture, that can be race-based, that can be gender-based, that can be segments of life, wherever you are on the planet, what has been handed down. Is any of that real? Well, we've adopted it at some point, but how does it fit now is the question. Is it the best representation of you? Is new about bringing and dragging the old? You know, we talk about timelines, how all the timelines have dissolved. We only have one timeline, and that timeline has nothing on it. That timeline is pure potentiality, pure plug and play. You put in and you remove. What is it going to look like? You can say, well, it could look like this, or it could look like that, or we may have intention from a collective perspective. How it's going to get there and how far we're going to expand it is entirely up to us. So if that's the game and that's how it's played, then what? What happens? You want to get to the point where you're not going to drag in anything that's been created in multiple timelines from an older consciousness, from an older frequency, from older representations. So let's dissect this. Just open our mind. If you ask yourself the question, everything that you've learned from others, how much of it totally resonates and says, that's the way it is, that's where I'm going to invest my life in. And when I say invest, that is your time, your focus, and building something around that. Or is that something that doesn't feel quite? Because if we look at it, the version of science that we are playing with is not pure, true science. There is facets of it in it, and there are facets of it being discovered every day. And we're talking about science in medical, science in engineering and technology, science of how things work in nature, the science of plug this in and we get that out, or anything of that nature. If you really look at it all, and this is a realization we have, It's all a construct to project an inverted world with many, many, many layers of disconnect and restriction. Because when we look at true science, science is not stagnant by any means. Science is always growing. Science is always expanding. Why is it expanding? Part of it is because we've created restrictions and we're only getting facets of it. Because if we go on the idea it should be this way, until it hits us in the face, we're not going to look at something different. That's the first part. The second part is, why is it expanding? Because we are expanding. That means the range of what we can apply as part of our experience, because this is our own creation, is expanding. That means we're creating brand new so-called science. So science cannot be stagnant. A or 1 plus 1 equals 2. Does it really? Or is that part of the construct we plugged in? We're realizing that that's changing. Look at all the new discoveries we have. Now, I can tell you one thing. There's thousands of discoveries for every one that's even allowed to leak out, that is not being shared on the mainstream, or meaning for everybody to have access to. Not on the surface, but from within, yes. Because every individual that discovers something is already uploading not only in the collective but also in the matrix as a point of reflection. So as we become more online, then we are going to realize that there is more to there. We have technologies that will totally bring in obsolescence all of the things that we are playing with right now. That first of all is not environmentally friendly. Second of all, requires a tremendous amount of effort and restrictions, and also potential negative effects on a physical expression. That we have to somehow create something from something, or that we have to pull it out of Gaia in those old-fashioned ways, or whatever it is. We have science and technologies that create perfect harmony and resources that are of service. Technologies where it uses different design methods that do not require the same effort to do various things. That does not require sacrifice, struggle, pain, and tremendous amount of energies and so forth of our own capacity, energy, and focus and so forth. We have technologies that can make life ease, and we'll be very responsive to what is really required as we're going through these changes. So science, is it a lie? It's a construct with a little bit of it's true, but it's more and more unfolding. This extends into the medical world. Don't think what we're seeing in that realm of what is a virus, what is this, what is that, is actually the way things work. It's all within that construct, the construct of those limitation, inverted, and so forth. Because as we understand who we are in charge of our experience. There's nothing outside of us that has any influence whatsoever. But if we believe and we construct under the belief that something is violating us, or has power over us, or can destroy us, or harm us, or create something that is less than our choice of experience, then of course we're going to create that experience. Because we are the ones that bring it in. This is why there's a lot of effort to convince you that there's something many things that can harm you, many things that can destroy you, many things that can create such restrictions of your life, because as long as you're convinced, you will connect to that construct, you will support that construct, you will replicate that construct within yourself and within your collective. So is it a lie? Is it a truth? Well, the truth is we are in charge and we create all facets of it. Educational system, most of our history, most of everything that's been provided as an idea of how things were and how things are and where these resources are coming from, like who wrote what, this is the way of life. Yes, we've been conditioned so deeply for that we are making it real. It is showing up for us because we're constructing it. Look at these prophecies. The prophecy gets plugged in. But no prophecy is a true prophecy. It is a projection that if we adopt it, a collective enough of people adopt it, then we will make it so. We'll make it, we'll replicate it. It may not be exactly, but we'll replicate it. But we're doing it because we said, okay, that must play out. Everything is optional. That's the truth. It's optional. So everything that we're still seeing right now is convincing us that this, first of all, you're unsafe, that you have to follow some rules for you to even survive, that the game is played this way, that if you don't do it this way, you will not be around, that you cannot have freedom because that will kill you, that you cannot do whatever you want because that's anarchy and will be self-destructive. So there's a lot of emphasis on that. But how much of it is true? Zero? Yes. But don't let me tell you what it is. You know within yourself, and you will know it with more clarity. I'm only sharing what everybody already knows within yourself that you may not be accessing. I'm just stimulating what you already know. The truth is the game that we're playing right now was all a construct with a very specific narrative when it was designed to create an inverted world of slavery and so forth, only for the opportunity for us to become more empowered than ever before. It was an experiment, an accepted experiment. And each and every soul that has come on the planet and every part that has created a combination, which we call a physical representation and play, was part of that experiment and chose to be part of that experiment and chose to see what they can do with that experiment and see what they can contribute or what they can learn from it before its departure, going into another realm. Go play somewhere else. Because you are infinite. You are immortal. And when I say immortal, as the very spirit being, the body itself will transform it back into the Gaia representation. The human entity goes, which is the soul part of, will eventually merge with all, but at the same time it's still part of all and will leave and take on another physicality, and you're multidimensional, will move on. So each part is still always in existence. It may be representing itself in a different form, maybe it prepared itself for another expression, but it's always there. It's never ever gone. It can't, because it's designed that way. We are that. We are that sourceness. We are the creator. We are our creation. We are the observer of it all. We are all of that. That's all part of it. But anyways, let's play with this some more. So when we're looking at what's true and what isn't, that ultimate truth is within yourself, but that ultimate truth is, we're on a playground. This is just one experience. We are chosen to come here to not only learn, play, and have all these, but also create a new transformation and to be a full expression. This is why many of you are feeling that push to be authentically yourself, to be the true you, to embark and access that true nature, which is pure love, source love, in creation as the spirit that you are. Every facet of it is part of the spirit. Spirit creates form, creates opportunities, and learns from its own creation. And that's what you are. And that's what you're doing. So where are we going? What's happening? We're moving along. We're upgrading every facet of ourselves. And everything is assisting us to but this assistance is our self-created assistance, what we are bringing other brother, sister souls, which are only just us in different expressions. Are we here to destroy ourselves? We've already made the agreement that is not the case. We are going to push ourselves to the edge only to bring more aspects of ourselves online. And the ones that cannot, because they're not ready for that, they have other options. I know there's been a conversation about many higher vibrational, higher access point consciousness souls embodying existing physicalities on the planet. Are they all existing? No. Some are brand new births. Some are so-called the extras. Some are also ones that are soul-based right now that is choosing to not to continue on the journey because they're done with what they came here to do. They never intended to come for the whole transformation. They only came for part of it because they wanted to get a part of the ride. So there's lots of that going on. The numbers being, is it going to be that number? That's potential intent of coming in. But we have to understand, it has to work. And if it doesn't work, because all the other alignments don't come into place, and physicalities are so off that just having one component coming in, doesn't matter how much consciousness it has, able to transform every part of it at that point in time, is not always possible. I'm not saying it's not impossible. It's not possible. It is possible. But it's more of a challenge. And the intent was not to have that many to be fully active anyways. We don't need as many, but that's something we design and decide. So it's going to be a process right into the end of the year, or close to the end of the year anyways. We got to flow with it. Are we going to participate? Possibly. But, it's still you coming to the fullest expression. So, what we need to pay attention to is everything that we are hearing, everything we are hearing from the mainstream, all the old all movies basically, all music, all the different narratives or stories that people are saying, family, friends, work, and so forth. Many of them are very much in the system and in the construct. If you remember the movie The Matrix, is like they're in that inverted matrix. Even though the inverted matrix doesn't exist, they're still living the inverted matrix. That's all. So now you have to do what? Connect with yourself and say, do I put my focus, my power in all of that or not? Is it my job to change things? Is it my job to fix things or people or anything of that nature? Or is it what I've come here to do is the fullest expression and share as it's requested and live life at those higher terms, which is opening the pathway for more to enter into that range. So you are the one that is creating and expressing that higher state. You're the one that's unpacking the new world within you, which is also giving the opportunity and showing others how to unpack the new world within themselves. So there is lots of constructed ideas being projected left, right, and center. Medically, governmentally, rules, laws, science, religion, you name it. It's common all over. The key here is to stay grounded with yourself and say, I have no reliance in all of that. What is true to me? And I start living with it. Maybe you take a little piece here and a piece there and plug it in only if it fits. And it's temporary because you are the furthest and most powerful expression within you. That's the thing. I know there's a lot of you that are going to find this challenging, and it's challenging for most of us. But the challenging is becoming more exciting. The challenging is also bringing forth a more powerful you. The challenging, that we call it at this point in time, is exposing itself in such a fashion that is bringing forth the truer form of you from its hiding place. And that is, you're like this gem that's saying, I'm going to keep it undercover for a period of time, and then eventually I will uncover it and open it up and present it forth in such a fashion so that in one way or another I can be of a service of sorts. But not only of service, but to be the grandest expression that you are. And this is the thing. So it's tapping into your own knowing and truth. Because that knowing and truth is expanding, but it's rock solid within yourself. And it does not create a reliance on all the construct around you, which some people like to call it lies. In a way, if you want to have a label to it, you could say that. You're saying, well, they are purposely saying what is not true. They're purposely projecting what is not true. No, that's not everybody. A lot of people are projecting what they thought to be true because they bought into the idea. But many know that it's untrue. But they're still of service. They're still trying to wake us up. Even though they're playing the negative role, the opposite role, the role that it's far from being the so-called truth. You were going to say something, Kimberly.
Yeah, there's someone is asking, how do we stay connected with those who are highly embedded / engaged with the construct and still stay in our truth?
Well, the choice you make is to stay true to yourself. So by being true to yourself, then you use your own self-navigation system. You're basically following what feels most true to you. When engaging with others, you still stay true to yourself. Not as, I gotta state my truth. No, you live your truth. You breathe your truth. You represent your truth. And you make that choice. You're not making anybody wrong. You're not telling anybody how to do anything of that nature. If they ask you, how do you see things? Be honest with them and yourself and say, from my observation, what I'm seeing, this feels most aligned with me, and this is why I'm making the choice this direction. Plus, I made a commitment to myself to stay true to myself, to use my own guidance system rather than depending on others to tell me how to live my life or others to tell me what I can or cannot do. When you are choosing to be authentic and truly to yourself, you will engage with family, with friends, with work, with whatever, in that truth, and then let whatever unfolds around you unfold without being scathed by it. If it means a termination of certain connections, you let it go because they need to play where they need to play, and you are. You're not here to sacrifice yourself. You're not here to be ingenuine to your... ingenuine?
Not genuine to yourself.
not genuine to yourself, not being true to yourself. You're not there to say, well, okay, I'm going to compromise. I'm going to suck it up for now because I'm going to play there because I don't want to lose these people. You're not going about afraid of losing or gaining anybody or staying there. You're just being authentic yourself. A lot of times that movement will happen, but then they'll come back, or certain ones will come back. There's been people that have been pushed to the point to say, well, you're not going to have your job if you don't follow these rules or play the game this way or get whatever, right? And they decide at that point in time, do I go into that playground and adopt all of that and create an environment within myself that is not true myself? Or do I choose to be true? I choose to be true and make that statement as my choice is to do this work, but at the same time, I am not going to follow what is being represented as a way for me to maintain that. And then by staying true, either that moves out of the way and says, okay, we'll make the allowance, or the fact that in some way you move on to go play somewhere else. Now, of course, we're going to say, well, if I leave that, then I'm going to be in survival mode because I'm not going to have the resources or whatever it is. You have to be true to yourself and say, in my truth, another truth will, in that truth, I will create something different. And the survival thing, you don't have to give power to and say, well, I have to have this to survive. No, that's an ego-based program, and it is part of the construct, but you say, no, I am a powerful being, and I choose now to shape it in the way that matches for me. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm just going to ask this question because it was sent in, and it was in alignment with what you're just saying.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm at a crossroads. I haven't been vaccinated, neither my kids and husband. We live in Calgary, Alberta, and I lost my engineering job due to COVID last year. I'm currently working on starting my own business, but it has been difficult. My husband is only income source at the moment and it hasn't been easy. He's getting 2 job offers in 2 different countries, and both require him to get vaccinated. Really, I don't know what to do. I feel that we should move to a different place and that I'm the one holding him back because I am the one that doesn't want to get vaccinated. He is just trying to support me, but he really doesn't believe the vaccine is not good.
Yeah, that can look very difficult in the sense, but you have to make the decision. I want to be true to myself. Now, can you hold anybody back? It can look that way, absolutely. And saying, well, if they want to support you, it's a choice that they make. But if you're going to stay true to yourself and say, hey, listen, I do not align with this. I do not resonate with this. And it's up to what I choose to do. It's up to you what you want to do. But I'm staying true to myself. By just saying that I'm staying true and authentic to myself, and I'm going to respect myself more than these other aspects that are presenting, then you shape your reality through that respect. So from that, as I respect myself, as I respect you to make your own decision, but I respect myself more than I respect fictional ideas or constructed ideas of how it is. When you do that, other opportunities open up. And if you feel like you want to do something where you create an environment for where it does not have those requirements, then do so, but do it with love, do it with your freedom, do it with your thing without waffling or feeling that in some way maybe I have to dive into this, or the fact that I'm holding anybody back. You cannot hold anybody back. You can be true to yourself, and someone else may choose to hold on or not, or they can choose to do whatever they choose to do, meaning that they may want to go one place or another. Now, if your husband, partner, whoever, in this case, we're staging it so that other people can relate it in their lives, chooses to go down that path, you say, hey, listen, this is where I stand. I love you. I'd love to be with you, whatever it is. But you also have the freedom to choose yourself what you want to do. If it totally feels 100%, besides the idea that I'm going to make more money or the fact that, it's a great opportunity, and it goes beyond that ego mind part and it feels true to you, go do what you need to do. Because when you create that opening, then they end up reflecting more on it and say, well, I don't know, I'm following an idea, I'm following this or that. And the thing is, if there's job offerings, if there's offerings, the offering could be whatever it is. But you go back and say, hey, thank you for the offer, but this is how I'm coming. I'm coming in my genuine self. I have a skill set that you can benefit, absolutely. But I also am not disrespecting myself, and I'm not making a choice that does not align for me to take on the job. I'm coming as me, in the purest form. It's up to you what you want to do. It changes the game on wherever it's going. And sometimes those lures are distractions, and those distractions are just to finally get to that rock solid, and then something locally or something else opens up that is truly feels good to the individual and to the whole family stream. So throw out that whole idea that you're holding anybody back. You be you, let everybody else be you, and if they choose to participate with you, that's great. If they don't, that's great too. But once all that dust settles around that, it really takes a form that you didn't even expect. This is the thing. Right now, we are pushing very hard to be rock solid with ourselves, to be true to ourselves, to be genuine to ourselves, authentic, or whatever we want to call it. That part of you is you respecting you, you being you, and you purging out all other versions of you that don't serve, which were all constructs while we were lost in the game. We have many versions of ourselves. Versions wherever we are. We have versions of ourselves based on different states of consciousness, different playgrounds. And when I say playgrounds, we're talking about the playgrounds on this playground as they've gone through the stages of changing before the C thing and then after the C thing, or whatever it is, or where we are right now. Look at how many people all over the world are not only awakening, but how many people are taking a stance. Yeah, they're still trying to fine-tune certain things, but they're taking a stance and say, hey, wait a minute, we are not. See, the illusion is that the majority are going down this path. If you look at the whole population, it's not true. Barely 40% have taken the bait, have gone down that path. Others because they have no means. Others because it's not even an offering. Others have said, no, not interested. And it doesn't matter what position they're in. If they're in the medical game, educational game, or whatever. The test is yours, which you allowed yourself. Do I stay true to myself, or do I sell myself to some construct, an idea? Something you make the choice. Is there anything else you wanted to say? Oh, good. Everybody's got it. So, sweetheart, what is true? What is the truth? Or what we call truth. What is it? Truth lies within us. That truth is what is us. It's our expression, our stage of expression, our stage of beingness. We have a natural state, a combined natural state, the natural human body, the natural human entity, the natural multidimensional soul, creating a natural, what looks like a human expression in physical form. The other tool that's very powerful is embodying your pure love. I choose to embody pure love. What is this pure love? This is source creator love. This is spirit. This is source in action, source in creation, source in beingness. And that beingness can represent what looks like form, what looks like separation in different playgrounds, what looks like it's engaged in something with other aspects of itself, which is all perfect because that's what the whole design was. So we're all being called to be our authentic self. We're all being called to be our true, powerful, genuine self at this point. So the truth is, you are all that is unpacking every facet of it to bring you forth. Everything else is a construct. It's an offering. It's a representation through different states of consciousness that have created alterations to give us a different experience, to minimize ourselves, and then to discover ourselves. We're in discovery of ourselves. We're bringing forth ourselves. That's what we're going through right now, more than ever. But one thing, and I know I said it already, but one thing is to connect with yourself, rely on your self-guidance. Whatever's being presented, be open to see if it triggers your own knowing, but not surrendering yourself to anything that is being offered, specifically now because it comes camouflaged in so many ways. Camouflaged as science, as a fact, as religion, as spiritual, as awakened, or whatever it is. Take everything, look at it, and see how it all resonates within you. Okay? Good. We're going to do questions, but before we do the questions, we had Peter that requested in one of his messages, can't remember his last name right at the moment, but Peter had suggested that we do a process that will bring forth what I also said in the last episode, just in case you missed it, to connect with a strong, making a stronger connection with ourselves. So we're going to do this for you, okay, so that you can use it as a tool. Because right now, yes, there's so much going on, okay? And as much as I said, whatever you've learned through the educational system, whatever you've learned from what's been handed down generation after generation, culture after culture, different expressions and so forth, different so-called fictional, projected authorities, expertise, specialties, and so forth, we're all pretty well, if not 99% or close to it, constructs. So you find your way through you in your genuine, pure expression. When you hear that's the way it is, you say, that's maybe how it was projected and played with, but how do I choose to experience it? How do I choose to engage? How do I choose to play now? How do I choose to be what I truly am? A creator in its own creation and its own expansion of that creation. That's you. That's yours. So, with all of this craziness, I'm using those words loosely because that's what people like to refer to, we can get lost in the game and that part of the game, because you know, the big game, the pure game, the larger game is you really playing in this reality, in this game on your terms. But we can get lost in the constructed games, those constructs, those projections, those parts that have come in. We can easily get lost in all of that. So as a tool for us to connect with that, we're going to provide you that tool, which I've provided before, but we're going to do it again just in case you've missed it before, or the fact that you need a refresher reminder. Are we good with that, Miss Kimberly? Okay. So I'm going to do this sitting down, actually. It won't take long. If you are driving or need your attention, I would not suggest that you close your eyes. I know Kimberly would say, hey, let's have fun with this and let's close our eyes and see where it goes. But I'm just being playful in that regard. No, if it needs your attention, don't. But you can listen to it and then play with it yourself. But this is a tool you use any time that you require, or in fact, I would recommend to do it more than once a day, daily. It's not long. And that actually allows you to be more rock solid to your true self. And that's what we're looking at. The other facet I'm going to plug in through this little process that we're going to do is the fact that we are being, we have many facets of ourselves that we've called in to be able to provide a very powerful energy. So we are bombarded by pretty strong energies within our galaxy, and many of the planets have taken an active role. We also have our beautiful brother sister souls that are using various technologies. We have our sun that has upgraded itself several times and it continues to do so, provides us all these powerful blasts and so forth. We have also a lot of beautiful beings that have come onto the planet and taken on human forms that are powerful conduits, and you may be one of them, that are also streaming pretty powerful energies right now. And we also have Gaia's upgraded energies that are being projected, and we have this beautiful, powerful crystal at the center of the Earth that is the inner sun that is being projected. But we also have a life force within ourselves. We have a life source essence within ourselves in our physical representation that is also part and parcel of all of this, and it is expressing itself through us in a very powerful way too. So there's many facets of ourselves. Now all of us are also working together. So as we come to further realization, we're streaming that throughout the collective, and each one of us are free to pick up any of that and to expand it and then put it back into the collective, but we're always holding on to what is necessary and beneficial for us. There's so much going on. And you have to understand that as much as the so-called projected, constructed ideas of life and whatever else is getting much more, looks like much more intensifying and much more diving into your freedom and space and so forth, that's losing its power, and this is why it's fluctuating, and this is why they keep raising the volume as one part. The other part is the volume increase is also allowing more and more people to kind of step out of that construct and be part of the new construct, which is the new authentic aspect of itself. Okay, so if you can close your eyes and it's not going to distract you from anything, do so. And this is a process. It's not a long process because we're going to do this together very quickly so that you have a quick reference point that's not going to have to go into a powerful meditation each time you do it, because that way if we make it complex, if we make it simple and we make it easy accessibility, then we will be able to do it much more frequent and with ease without taking away your precious time. But I can tell you, any investment in this process will have high dividends and return because of the fact that it alters you very powerfully and it changes. Now, I have mentioned to you, I'm just setting the stage a little bit more really quickly. We all operate certain bands of frequency. So if we're looking at what we call frequencies, we all have a range of frequency that we're in. So by doing this process, we ramp up the frequencies to the maximum. And if we're already up here, then we'll bring it to the next range. This is the second range, frequency that we have access to. So it can do that automatically. Now we will fluctuate. And while we're doing that, we're also increasing our vibration. What is our vibration? It's the part that actually shapes, forms, reshapes our reality around us. So that's when we raise our vibrations, then we align with other vibrating realities around us and other vibrating people around us. Frequency is like the channel. You're actually a certain octave that you're transmitting. You create within that. You access a certain consciousness in that. your representation in that range to be part of your own construct, but also the unpacking of the new construct. So we vary in range, in frequency and vibration. We can really drop our vibrations very low, and it can fluctuate very much so, where the frequency doesn't move as much. Okay? All right, so if you can close your eyes, you close your eyes and put your focus on the breath, and just be fully present with your breath and the full movement of the breath as you breathe in and out. Just be aware of the movement of air that you feel as you breathe in and out, the expansion and contraction in your lungs, and just be present. So that's really giving you an opportunity to be present in the body, present in the moment, present in your state. And as you continue to breathe in and out, every time you exhale, just let go of any tension, any tightness, any resistance, any structure that you're holding on to, or idea. And that's not a mind involvement, just breathe it out. I let it go, I let it free. And as you continue to breathe in and out, just going deeper and deeper, feeling more and more relaxed, more and more attuned. Attuned to what? Attuned to yourself. And as you become more attuned in yourself, going into that other range of yourself, you're realizing that you are fully present, you're fully who you are at this moment. As much as you're in a body and you're connecting with the body, you're much more than the body. And the body is a beautiful vehicle, it's a beautiful expression, a beautiful tool to play with. And we're not here to negate the body, we are here to experience ourselves in the body in the most highest state possible. And as we're doing so, we are now gently increasing our frequency, upgrading our frequency higher and higher and higher. This gives us more and more range of our connection, more and more range of our consciousness, more and more range of our creative abilities. We're also increasing our vibrations, what we transmit, what we interact with, what we accept as an interaction, and what we don't. As our vibration goes up, we connect with other high vibration playmates and create an environment in those higher vibrations, while emanating a very specific high frequency that you have chosen. And these frequencies will continue to advance as you play in those higher ranges, as you play with other playmates in higher vibrations. So to facilitate us right now, we ask, and you do this yourselves, I now call in a beautiful column of powerful, full spectrum, light frequency with all its encodements from Source. Source is within the field, all around us, a very specific, powerful column that is there to assist you, and that column to stream right down through you, immerse with you, illuminate you. And the part you call in is this beautiful, full spectrum, full encoded, higher frequency spectrum of light to beam down through you. You also summons forth a beautiful, purified, specific beam of frequency, spectrums of light from the galaxy in all of its offering solar systems and stars, to stream through the atmosphere, through the body, and illuminate you, creating a beautiful blend with sourceness. We also summons forth a beautiful, powerful column of light, fullest spectrum available from our sun, to stream down through your body and merge with the other two streams, creating a beautiful blend. We also summons forth a beautiful stream, column of light from the inner planet crystal, inner sun, to stream forth and through your body, creating a beautiful blend with all the other three streams as it moves through you, illuminating you, increasing your frequency to the highest range and possibly bringing you to the second stage. To raise your vibration, to bring forth your truest and purest essence, purging, clearing all emotional charges, polarized energies, definitions and labels of yourself, any created blocks and clusters of consciousness that is from an old construct, allowing all beautiful cells of informations and various expressions to merge and dance within you. Opening up more of your innate consciousness of the body to share and to be present with your body expression. Clearing the layers and blockages from your human entity to express its fullest access of all incarnations, only in its purest expression, purest form of consciousness, purest understanding of the human experience in its natural design. Clearing out any blocks and barriers and veils and filters through your multidimensional soul. We now ask your multidimensional soul to fully embody, to merge and connect with all facets of your physical representation now, to activate and lock in the highest frequency that your body can contain, frequency, home frequency that has been adopted and utilized and expanded through all dimensional incarnations and experiences and fields, to be expressed in this body right now. We turn on, bring forth the highest level of source essence that represents through this physicality to the maximum degree that can be contained in this physical form. We call forth the highest version of yourself, the version that has the most access to consciousness, the most active, most highest version of all its combination, forth and to be upgraded with all that is moving through you right now. Activating pure love, pure source love, pure source creation, in action love. The love that sees perfection, the love that navigates freely, no polarization, no right, wrong, good, bad. Love that has appreciation of all creation and is creation in action and is always upgrading for the highest state of expression possible. and creating a beautiful dance and alignment within yourself. And your new statement is, I truly choose to be the most authentic, highest, purest expression of who I am in all multifacets of self, combined as a beautiful, powerful expression. I choose to be the truest aspect of myself in each moment, in each interaction, in each opportunity. I see this beautiful dance we call life as an opportunity to be the truest aspect of self. I remind myself, this is a game. This is a beautiful opportunity to express in this game the highest version of the human experience. I am now activating the highest level of purging and clearing of older versions and adoptions that represented something that was in that inverted matrix, inverted 3D, 2D, that served but no longer serves now. I activate and remind within myself that I am full expression of free will. I reactivate the highest level of free will, of sovereignty, of creator. I fully recognize that I am creation and action. My reality is of my own creation. There are no mistakes, but there is opportunities to continually to upgrade, to match ourselves in our expanded self. This is an ongoing process. I am the driver of this expression and experience, which we call the human experience. The playground we call Earth. We are here to play together, to reshape it, to create an environment that matches the newest, most expanded versions of ourselves. We no longer give power to suggestions, projections, so-called authorities. We see it as a way to transform every facet of it. We remind ourselves who we are. We are source in action, source in creation, source as the creator, created, and observer of creation, source expanding, source grandizing. I commit myself to be true to myself, to be free, to play, to redesign, to use my imagination, my creativity, and my opportunity to unpack a new world, one that matches the highest expression of myself. And that is so. Put your attention on the breath. Be present with the breath. And synchronize with the breath, with the movement of the breath, the ease of the breath, the fluidity of the breath, because that is a representation, a reminder of your true essence as the breath, as the fluidity, as the flow in and out of creation, in and out of experience. And let's take the next few breaths to bring us back to a conscious state. As soon as it feels comfortable for you, you can open your eyes and be present in your reality. Be aware of your environment. It's all fluid. It's all of your creation. It's all of you to redesign, personally and collectively. This is great to repeat in the morning and in the evening. And to give you a short version of it, as a bonus, if you take the opportunity to just quieten yourself for a moment and just ask, my multidimensional soul, fully embodied, activate the highest home frequency that I can contain. I now activate my highest source essence, bringing forth my highest version of myself. I activate and fully embody pure love. I bring online the fullest expression of my human entity and my innate consciousness. And now I go out and play. And do so. Go out and play. Go out and do whatever you were doing. And see how that feels. See how all of that shifts for you. And whenever you need that refresher, you can do it instantaneously. Just close your eyes and just repeat that short version of it. The longer version is for you to bring all that is helping you out right now. I know it's easy to get distracted. The ego mind can make us feel lazy, feel like, that's not important, I did it already. But the thing is, just observe the changes that you experience each and every time you do it. It really profoundly changes, and it profoundly brings you back online. More than ever, this beautiful dance will require the highest aspect of yourself to play. The highest aspect is ready to rock and roll all the time. It's ready to be the highest expression in every facet of your journey. That's the only way we change everything, and we're already doing it, but we can expedite it. You know, all these so-called projected future timelines, future opportunities, forecasts, and so forth. Those are just projections. How it will play out, how far it will play out, if it even plays out, will be up to us moment by moment as we're going along. We can speed it up, we can slow it down, we can change it completely, we can redesign any part of it. Is there a forecast of anything that's rock solid? No. There's a strong intention for us to reach a certain level of our human playground experience. To bring ourselves to that point. How we do it, we are doing it moment by moment. It's not here to drag anybody with us. It is for us to be the fullest potentiality, the fullest state that we are, each moment. We good with that?
I think we'll call that a day because
Okay.
it's 6, and
Do we have any questions or no?
we'll do questions another day.
Okay, so scratch that question part.
Yeah.
Till next time. This is your opportunity to really shine, to really be the highest representation of you. This is your opportunity to really be a catalyst, a conduit, a collective designer in your personal reality, in all the other interacted smaller clusters of realities as your family, immediate, your extended, through your work, through your friendship, through any engagement, and the massive collective of your community, of your country and planet. We're not here to wait for anything. We're already here. We are doing it. We are to do it. Don't wait for the next thing to give us permission what we do and don't do, or for changes to happen before we can express ourselves or be genuine to ourselves. That will only delay it. That will slow it down. That will may knock you out of the game for a while. Don't wait for anything. Live your truest essence each moment, truest expression. Don't think that certain individuals going in power is going to change it. They will come about and play a particular role once you are the one that empowers them. Because realistically, you're the only one. You're the one that's creating all of it. So there's nothing to wait for. You're it. You're here. We're all doing it together. But we're already together, scattered all over the world. But we also have families that we're connected to on different dimensions. And we're doing it all together. So go out and play. Go out, be the most essence, what do you call it? I lost the word. Authentic self that you are, the truest self as you are. Truth is that, all of that we've talked to and played with today. Take the time to listen to this more than once. I will post it on Facebook as soon as I can to make it available with all that we've ran into today. Once again, thank you for your contribution. We are more than open to receive any support that we have so that we can continue this. We are moving, so we'll have to set ourselves up somewhere else. We will continue streaming episodes until close to the end, if not right up to the end of September, and then we'll have to take everything down and reset up wherever we're going to go. We have no idea where that's going to be. The playground has changed in a certain way, but anyways, I thank you for your support, your energetic support, your contributions, and so forth. Share with as many people as possible at this point in time all of this content, because it helps all of us to get online, remember who we are, to get on track and to move forward. So until next time, go out and play, be the most authentic, most powerful, true essence of who you are in the highest expression of you.